Dear future humans or highly evolved chimpanzees who have taken over, I'm gonna try to put what just happened into historical context using nothing but facts. Because what's going down will be in history books, even the ape ones. Donald John Trump was a New York area real estate developer who rose to national fame on a reality show starring Dennis Rodman and Gary Busey. Some may compare this to Ronald Reagan's acting career, but he also was the governor of California. Trump entered the national political stage by questioning the president's nationality, and if Hawaii was secretly part of Kenya. Trump ran his campaign on a platform of making America great again and America first, a slogan that was originated by an isolationist, nazi-sympathizing, anti-Semitic party in the 1930s, spearheaded by Charles Lindbergh. On November 6, 2016, Donald John Trump won the Electoral College. Hopefully you future people/apes don't know what that is. It was a voting system invented partly to give more power to Southern slave owners. Although he won the Electoral College, Trump lost the popular vote by nearly 3 million to Hillary Clinton, a former First Lady, Senator, and Secretary of State. Hillary's popular vote advantage was the largest of any candidate who did not win the office, while Trump's margin of votes put him at the third worst in history, just behind Hayes, who won in a deal that vastly delayed civil rights, and John Quincy Adams, a man who believed the earth was hollow. It's not. This made Trump the first person in history to become president without any public service experience. Trump liked to draw comparisons to Andrew Jackson, the first person to win the presidency who wasn't of wealth, which Trump is, allegedly. But this was probably not the best link to make, since Jackson was more commonly known for this: the Trail of Tears. While most presidents entered the office with the highest approval rating of their careers, at the time of Trump's inauguration, he had the lowest approval rating of any incoming president in history. He would claim polling was rigged, and it hurt his feelings. Trump also entered the presidency at the center of an investigation by multiple branches of the government into his connection with Russia and their hacking of the election. Now, it's hard to say the FBI investigating an incoming president was a first, though, especially with the first director of the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, keeping files on, well, basically everyone. All of this was made all the more suspect as Trump was the first Republican in 9 elections to not release his tax returns to the public. Now, he had provided some financial disclosure documentation, just like the single sheet of paper about his health that Dr. Oz confirmed on daytime television. So, exactly who was linked to his businesses and how healthy he was remained unknown. What was known was that unlike presidents before him, Trump did not fully separate himself from his businesses, putting his sons in charge and remaining financially invested. Even Jimmy Carter gave up his family peanut farm when he became president. Trump's inauguration was attended by around 160 to 200,000. Now, this would be low for a second-term president, let alone a first, but nowhere close to President Obama's 1.8 million in 2009. This hurt President Trump's feelings. At the very moment Trump started his inauguration speech, it started to rain. Now, bad weather is not uncommon for inauguration. Just ask Harrison, who died 31 days into office of pneumonia after he refused to wear a coat at his. At 68 years old, Harrison was the oldest president to be sworn in, until Reagan, at 69, well, who was eclipsed in 2017 by 70-year-old Donald Trump. On the day after his inauguration, up to 6 million people marched around the globe against Donald Trump in the largest protest in human history. This also hurt the president's feelings, but he claimed he didn't hear them from his house 1 block away. In the days after, while beginning to work to dismantle Obama's presidency and pass through the richest cabinet in history, Trump's White House would focus much of their press on wrongly claiming that 1.5 million people attended his inauguration and that the election was rigged by upwards of 5 million people voting illegally, with no proof. Sales of George Orwell's 1984 reached #1, and the doomsday clock ticked closer to midnight. But what about Hillary's emails? A week before the election, after the Access Hollywood thing, out of nowhere, Comey comes out. What's Trump still using his private Android phone? His senior staff have private email accounts.